Stories of East Tennesseans living incredible lives, people doing incredible things. All of that showcased for years on Halloran Hilton Hill's Anything is Possible, where people are really finding possibilities in seemingly impossible seasons of life. And we begin a new season right here on WVLT with a story that hits home with someone we already know, someone we already love. It's our Ted Hall.
This week on Anything is Possible,
we found out my son had brain cancer.
Jeez.
Changed everything for me and I think for my family.
How old was he?
He was 11.
I have been a fan of Ted Hall for a long time, but man, we got into a conversation that was so real.
And at that time, I think, in order to reach success, you've got to commit yourself to your job. And if there's time left, the family gets it. If there's time left. And that's what I was doing up until that point. And that was just a complete flip of the switch.
Who turns down a 7-figure deal for love?
When you're faced with something and the love takes over, love acts in a way that is beyond what you might even think is your own capacity. And that's what Ted had to do. He turned down a very big offer for the sake of love.
But it also, I think, set me on a slightly more correct path for this point in my life.
How
family
so?
Family first. And I told him that in Atlanta. And that's another reason I was telling him, no, that's going to take too much time away from my family. I'm not going to do it. And they started getting tired of it, I could tell. So when it came time for my next 3-year contract, I said no.
When you're projecting on camera or you're projecting on the radio, it's not just the words, it's the energy, it's an aura, it's a feeling. And sometimes you get these feelings about people, you can't put it into words. And then when they peel back a layer, you go, that's why I like him or her. I knew there was something else there. Well, this weekend, you're going to find out about the something else there. And I know we all love Ted, but you're going to love him even more. He's fantastic.
We already know that about Ted, that he is fantastic. And I know, speaking with Halloran, Ted, about you and your story, I know that you don't like talking about yourself.
No, I was raised, if it's worth bragging about, someone else is going to say it for you. Don't say it yourself. That's how I was raised.
Well, actually got to watch the whole episode, and it's fantastic. I learned so much about you, even sitting next to you all these years that I didn't know. We learn about what really makes you tick, your family being the most important, your faith and your career, and realized how lucky we really are to have you here as our friend and living and working in East Tennessee. But you got to be vulnerable to really get the story out. Was that hard?
I'm not sure I'm going to be able to watch. I don't know when I'll be able to watch, because for a lot of people, you open yourself up, and hopefully that opens you up for a hug. But I think for guys, it's wired in a lot of our brains. You open yourself up, you're going to get punched. So we stay with a shield in front of us, show you a little bit of what we want now and then. Doggone it. I had all these things planned, right? We used to have to canoe to school every May and June for 3 years when I lived in Canada. Cool story. Got to go to Roy Rogers' house for New Year's Eve when I was 12, the Roy Rogers house in Hollywood. Cool story. He didn't care about any of that stuff. He just wanted to dig deep. And at some point I realized, okay, that's what this is. Do I actually open that door or not? And I opened that door, and it feels really weird, folks. It feels really weird.
I could see, actually, watching it where the curtain dropped, I think, knowing you now, that where it could have been all these stories, it could have been how cool and how exciting your life has been, which it is, but you can see where you're like, you know what, I gotta be open, I gotta be real about things with your son, with your health, and really scary moments in your life.
I think, honestly, she found out about it about a week ago, so that it was going to happen, and so we talked about it for a couple minutes last week. And I said, I'm wondering how people are going to respond. I don't think people are used to seeing a news guy be as honest and open as I feel like I was. And this was months ago. This came 2 days after our week-and-a-half trip to Egypt, so I was puffy, I was exhausted. Maybe that made me even more vulnerable. I'm not sure.
I really enjoyed watching it.
I'm not sure. I don't know what, I can't remember half the things I said, but I hope somebody who watches it get something out of it. And maybe there's just a comment or something in there or something that we went through that someone can associate with, and it may help them. That's what I hope.
I know that will be the case. After watching it, I know that will happen. It will inspire you. It will move you. I only cried a couple of times watching it, had to go back and rewatch it. So really good stuff. And Ted, you tell fantastic stories about a lot of people, but to see your story told through your lens is really moving. So I'm glad you did that.
I'm uncomfortable, but I hope people like it.
Get to Ben.
Your first alert.